At the same time, the country had a standard that if a PL was found to have one EMS bacteria, it was eliminated. But at the same time, they're putting in billions through the probiotics. So we have to be careful about that. Make sure if you're using a product, especially in today's economics, that it's cost effective, meaning it pays for itself and gives you additional profit. Now, the future. I guess the biggest technology I am kind of interested in today is the power of artificial intelligence and the power of computers and the analytics they can bring. So in the future, I envision a world where all of our farms are hooked into a system in a cloud, and the computers are generating analysis of all that data that comes in, and it will tell the farmer the best solutions to management at that time, the best stocking rates, the best conditions to get the highest profitability, the best hatcheries to buy PLs from, hatcheries that are problems, feeds that are the best. All of that data should be analyzed instantaneously and made available to farms. It will be a very powerful tool. A lot of people say, well, that kind of ruins our ability to maintain integrity. The cloud is anonymous. The data is pooled, but who knows what data goes where. But everybody gets the data and the analysis that helps improve the culture. And I think this is especially important for countries. Companies within countries are not competing against other companies. Companies are competing and countries are competing against other countries. Countries have to basically work together to increase the efficiency of the overall industry of the country and not worry about competition with the neighbor. The competition is with the other country. So marketing. This is a much underappreciated area of shrimp farming. It used to be if you produced a shrimp, you could sell it. That's not the case any longer. The world is full of shrimp. Ecuador, a brilliant campaign in marketing. The best shrimp in the world. An environmental story. It references working within a country, and Dr. Aldai, she's a brilliant compiler of this, and she's got 2 books now that really, if you need 2 books to tell you everything there is to know about shrimp and to update your knowledge, that would be a good recommendation. But we have to continually update. You know, I know my boss, I went to him with some new technology 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm an old guy now, and he looked at me and he goes, "You're still learning?" We have to always continue to learn. You can't stay stagnant. You have to check the boundaries. You have to keep pushing. Continually upgrade your knowledge. Never, ever think that something is impossible, because everything is possible if we don't get held in by boundaries. And so for that, I kind of conclude. CP is your holistic company for success. We have the breeding, we have the feed, we have great seed, and we develop new management to deal with the environments as they change over time. So thank you very much. Am I still live?
Our audience might have some questions.
Yes, you are.
Did I lose them?
Thank you very much, Dr. McIntosh, for a brilliant presentation. You work for the industry. Now, I would like to request from the audiences if you have some questions from Mr. McIntosh, please.
Hear me? Oh God, this is bad.
Yes, Dr. McIntosh, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, all right. So anyway, thank you very much.
Our audiences might have some questions with you, so please.
All right.
Hello, Dr. McIntosh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sure. So thank you for your presentation. And I would like to comment on
I think
Over here? Okay. So, let me repeat. So, thank you for your presentation. And I would like to... It's still impossible for a computer to predict which strain or which type of this bacteria or that viruses can be evolved and can attack our stocks.
Robin, you can stop share.
Yeah, stop share.
And I think there's feedback from the mic because they broadcast our talk in the hall. No, their mic in the hall because they broadcast the Zoom into the hall, so it's feedback. They loop back to the mic. So let them solve that problem.
Me to repeat the question? Dr. McIntosh, did you get my question?
No, could you repeat it?
Yes, please. Okay, no problem. So here in Saudi Arabia, we experienced like a harsh environment, such as salinities and temperatures, topping that with ocean acidification, gas emissions, and everything. And you mentioned in the last slides about the AI as a technology to solve the numerous challenges that appeared every day with intensification of shrimp farming. But even with the artificial intelligence, there will be problems with the computer to predict which strain would be evolved from microorganisms such as bacteria and viruses. So do you think only management would give us an advantage on proceeding with the production of the shrimp? As you mentioned also about the feed, the quality of ingredients in the feeds. Even with the board storage, some fusariums or some fungal can go inside the feeds and can affect the shrimps as they are defenseless, as you may know. So what do you envision to solve these simple or maybe say simple problems before we go to the next level? Thank you.
Management has to be dedicated to providing tools to help farmers become successful. Let me explain AI a little bit. The reason I say what I say with AI, I look at the example of EMS. So EMS started in China in 2010. We didn't identify the pathogen until 2013. In the meantime, it destroyed the world. And in the end, we learned that if the pond was at low salinity, or if we used this stock, or if we did, if it was, this temperature, we learned there were combinations that basically exacerbated or increased the probability of EMS. We also learned of conditions where the densities would moderate the effect. If all the farms had been linked, it wouldn't have taken 6 years to get control of EMS. We would have known what set of conditions gave us a higher probability of success than we had by trial and error. Because what we're doing with AI is linking so many farms. So in Saudi, I assume not every pond is stocked at the same density or at the same time or whatever. So the analytics is able to sort out what works best and allows the farmers the information of what works best. And so, you talk about the feeds. Well, if there's 3 or 4 feed sources and all the farms are inputting the data, it clearly will be able to sort out this feed is a problem or that feed is good. The same way with seed. It gives the farmer power to know what's working and what's not working. So that's why I think there's, and again, as we know in this world of interconnectivity, the larger the network, the more power we have. So the more countries, the more farms, the more inputs we have into the cloud, into the analytics, the more powerful this tool becomes. So is this tool next week or next month? No. But I do believe that as we create these networks of data for farms, this will provide huge power to the farmer to quickly address issues and optimize his culture.
Hello, Dr. Robbins. This is Jabra Sahli from Trout Seas and also from this Saudi Aquaculture Society. Thank you for a very extensive presentations, and it was my glad to meet you, I think, 6 years ago in Malaysia for such conference like this. You mentioned today some things about extruders and pellet feed, which is, for me, is very, very interesting. Can you give more details about this and how you feel about it and what is the future for that? Thank you.
Mill guy, I can only tell you observation. I can tell you observation. So I know that CP puts a lot of money and time in upgrading equipment and staying with the top technology, and they can create a pellet with 98% the same gelatinization you get with extruders. They can create a lot more control, and their pelleted diets will perform equal or better than extruded diets. So it's not that extrusion is going to improve your pellet just because it's extruded. It's still ingredients and how you mix the ingredients and other things. What extrusion does allow you to do is get away with cheaper ingredients. So if you're doing pelleting, you got to be more specific with your ingredients to create the bind. But if you're extruding, you can use cheap carbohydrates, you can use crap to basically still create a pellet, and you can get away with it. So, you know, for me, extrusion, people that want to do extrusion are people that are looking for ways of finding ways of creating pellets out of maybe lower cost materials. That's not to say that extruded feeds can't be good, but just because extruded does not mean that it's good or better than a pellet. Referring to me or someone else?
Yeah, someone else.
Okay.
Hello. Yes. My name is Ammar Salim. I'm coming from the National Center for Environmental Compliance and largely from University of Ottawa. My specialization is in analytical chemistry, and I would like to congratulate you and say a great forward-looking presentation in this area where you are saying that genetics is not the only thing. So if we make a triangle of disease, health, and biosecurity, I think the holistic approach, including the artificial intelligence, and especially the multi-omics approach, is a forward-looking aspect in this area in which not only genetics, but proteomics, metabolomics, and especially the overall multi-omics approach is coming into the picture. And I would say that when this area is expanding, I think the technological development from the analytics point of view should be focused and directed into this direction.
I would agree with that.
Any questions? So thank you very much, Dr. McIntosh, for your presentation.
Always enjoy presenting in Saudi. It's a good group of farmers. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an international fish pathology consultant here in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he visited several of fish establishments to see if any biosecurity loophole or limitation is there. So we have Dr. Francis Pedros here. I would like to give his brief introduction to you first before calling him on stage for today's presentation. Dr. Francis Pedros is a fish veterinarian with more than 30 years of experience on aquatic animal diseases and health management. He is the technical director of the Fish Disease Diagnostic Laboratory and associated professor at the Veterinary School of the Autonomous University of Barcelona. He has been meeting secretary of the European Association of Fish Pathologists, director of the Catalan Aquaculture Network, and he is currently the vice president of the European College of Aquatic Animal Health, a college of the European Board of Veterinary Specialization. So I would like to invite Dr. Francis Pedros for his presentation and recommendations for the aquaculture industry in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Dr. Pedros, please.
Well, Assalamu alaikum, Sabat al-Jir. I must say that I'm really pleased to be with you, sharing this experience. And before to start, I would like to start with very short acknowledgement. You know that normally acknowledgements are at the end, but I would like to start with this acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge MIWA, the Saudi Aquaculture Society, and also the staff of all the companies that we have visited during these days. Thank you for inviting, and thank you particularly for your professionalism and kindness. And I also would like to say thank you particularly to Dr. Tariq Khan and Dr. Mohan Lal from SAS, from these enjoyable days we spent together on the road and in the visits. My presentation has four pieces, or is structured in 4 pieces. I will start with a general overview, then I will move more on specific aspects on biosecurity and fish health management, then I will move to specific suggestions and recommendations for you from the visits, and finally I will do a final wrap-up with conclusions. So allow me to start my presentation not focusing directly biosecurity, but focusing how are my feelings about the Saudi aquaculture after my visit. So this is because I entitled also my introduction as 20,000 leagues across the Red Sea and 11 hours driving from Tabuk to Al-Lif. So how I see aquaculture in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So my view in a nutshell is that, ladies and gentlemen, you have a very solid leadership potential for Middle East aquaculture and a strong potential as reference for worldwide marine aquaculture. I am being very honest with you. So I don't want to say that I am surprised. I was really amazed to see all your capacities. I've been in contact with many countries. Any country has their different profile, but believe me when I say that you have a very, very, very powerful structure. You have a unique and privileged location. Arabian Peninsula, you know, it's a global communication crossroad. And I will not talk about economics. I think your future is not economics. It's something different. You have basically Red Sea, but also Persian Gulf coast with pristine waters, excellency in people, in administration, in the industry, and I will explain to you later even more advanced aspects about these human aspects. You have a very high capacity to supply internally. Most of you, during the companies, told me that you are basically selling your products in Saudi Arabia. Well, okay, but I see a lot of the future also in the external markets. Healthy and safe products. You are following exactly the same strategies as we are doing in the European Union, from farm to the fork, adapted to your own circumstances, but you are focusing in the same way. I think you can position very well in your markets premium quality products. I think it's something that you can differentiate from other countries producing aquaculture, because you have a very advanced technology and you have a very huge awareness about biosecurity, safety. Okay, we are connecting with One Health on that. It's like, this has inspired me a little bit with this phrase at the end, that you take care of your fish and shellfish in the same way that you take care of your guests. And it's true. I think it's a very nice philosophy. I don't want to say that you can use this, but it's up to you. But I see this aspect that I think you can exploit very, very well. Should have Saudi Arabia finfish aquaculture have differential product profile from other countries or areas? Well, I've seen a lot of changes in how you are addressing the selected species in the different companies. You have more or less at this moment 8 different species. I don't see at this moment any specific idea or flavor about what will be the selected or will be the selected species for the future. I think you are in the right moment to take the right decision about which species are the most adequate for your production. I see that diversification sometimes is, I've heard from some companies that it's a strategy to offer more variety of products to the customer. That is something that I see, for example, in fisheries. If you have you are selling fish, you need to have 20, 30, 40 different species. I don't know if it is the right strategy. Maybe it's or the wrong. I don't know. There's another strategy is, okay, I have 4, 5, 6 species to avoid competitors in the same product. This can be another strategy. In any case, it's very important if you want to address the market into other countries. It is very important to know what these markets needs. And here I would like to introduce a European project, Horizon 2020. The name is Perm for Fish. We are finishing now the project. We have been working 5 years, basically with colleagues from Greece, Italy, Croatia, Spain. Very important to have serious knowledge about what are the different markets demanding. But if you're interested in sea bream and sea bass, Eurofish has been done this work. This is available, if you see here in results. Just open here, and you will see the deliverables of all the assessment about markets in different countries. Totally open. We will go back to perforated fish later on. But now I will come back something about, I think Dr. McIntosh already stressed before, particularly for Ecuador. And now I am focusing Norway and salmon. I think everybody knows that Norway is leading, sorry for the Chileans, but they are leading the salmon market. And why? Something that I think it was very, very important to know about the success of the Norwegians and the salmon was exactly that. Sorry. The alignment of institutional and company marketing campaigns. And not only that, not only marketing, this is one of the issues that was addressed by this strong cooperation. Also in health management, in any areas of salmon production, the Norwegian government and the associations and the companies are in the same line. So gentlemen, I was so happy to see that you are following the same scheme. You have a mission and an ambition for as a country for 2030. Fantastic. You have MIWA, we have Saudi Aquaculture Society. You are developing standardization programs like SMAC. It's a win-win, gentlemen. You know, you don't know how is the value of this, this fluent dialogue between farmers and government associations. This has a high value. I think it's something that is your DNA. So congratulations for that. It's a very intelligent cooperative strategy. And very few countries are achieving this level. And the proof of that is this meeting. Maybe in the future, what about branding products? A common strategy between the companies and MIWA and SAS about how should we address your premium products to other countries. Very important. Problems, potential problems. Okay. There are always possibilities to have problems. And something that I would like to address here is something that I know as a Spaniard, and my experience in Spanish aquaculture is that we already have this problem. Is the competition between tourism and other activities with aquaculture. At this moment, you don't have this problem yet. But you must be aware that maybe in the future, you are developing very fast tourism, other activities, maybe some conflicts on coastal space use. Aquaculture and tourism is the main one. For example, in Spain, tourists, they don't want to see cages. And they complain for that. And because the tourist lobby is stronger than the lobby in aquaculture, there are a lot of limitations about the use of the coastal space for aquaculture. Most of the cages at this moment should be moved to 5 miles away from the coast. Imagine that you have now how easy is to get to reach the cages. Imagine you have to move 5 miles away from the coast. Take into account that. So I would like to recommend you to develop in the future accurate maritime spatial plannings to minimize these problems. So this is at the national level is my recommendation. So take this into account. I am sure that you are focusing that. But this is very important because you are developing the coastal structure very fast. And let's go now more specifically on aspects on biosecurity and health management. Enjoy. Congratulations, it is true. I've heard that now OIA has decided that Saudi Arabia will be the reference laboratory for Mid East. It's a proof of that. Gentlemen, you are leading the standards on biosecurity and epidemiological surveillance. I think for me it will be very easy to do because there will be no problems on that because your system is really very, very robust. And why is it very robust? Basically because you are working in an integrated multi-layer biosecurity system. KSA national level, R&D from universities, research institutions, R&D from the companies. You have companies that they have a very strong R&D potential not reality, okay? And all the companies, even the smaller one, has a very high awareness about biosecurity. Even technologically cannot apply very sophisticated systems, but the awareness about biosecurity is in each worker, in each person that is working in the companies. So this is the basis. This is the basis, and you have already achieved that. Also, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, your biosecurity system is not a simple vertical surveillance systems based on mandatory watchdog systems. Sometimes I see in some countries that this kind of, let's say, surveillance and biosecurity systems are old-fashioned and are based in misinterpretation about what the OIE is saying about that. So your system is completely different. Your system is transversal in your aquaculture system. So it's quite advanced. You have very advanced systems about disease control, pathogen control, and biosecurity. To sum up, Saudi Arabia, as a country, you have very high standards on aquatic animal disease, surveillance, and biosecurity. The model is very modern and well structured. There is a room for improvement, obviously. Always there is room for improvement. But self-revision and the improvement is already taken into account. So you never are happy about what you have. You need more, and this is the way. So congratulations again, because considering the biosecurity, you have a very, very, very robust system. Suggestions and recommendations for improvement. Let's go more to specific questions. About epidemiological surveillance at national level. I think it is very important that you can develop your own system of surveillance or something like in control of the situation. If you want, we will start a new European project. The name is Cure for Aqua. So if you are interested to participate, open doors. You just can contact me, and we are starting. We will start in September. So your views will be very important on that. So for example, in the case of barramundi viral diseases, at this moment, as far as I know, you are focusing only Red Cyprian iridovirus disease and VNN. But look, we have scale drop, infection of spleen and kidney necrosis, we have herpes virus moving around. I think it is very important you can have a look what's happening, checking the papers, being in control of that, because your system should be also very flexible and should be adapted to the real-time situation. For example, they say, you have also in the current list VNN RSEV, tilapia-like virus, Streptococcus inii, and Galactii. I told you, for example, in the case of Barramundi, which are the relevant diseases that I think you can put the eye on them. But also on bacteria. For example, be very careful with Vibrio harvey. Is a species that is causing a lot of troubles in the Mediterranean. In fact, you are implementing vaccination programs only for Vibrio harvey, together with multivalent vaccines. We have huge problems with the specific strains of Photobacterium Damsela pesticida, multivirulent and multi-resistant. So even we don't have antibiotics that can work with this bacteria. It's a very particularly disgusting monster. And also be attentive with new parasites, Microsporidia, Maxozoans. All these parasites are very difficult to treat. So once they are in the form, it's very, very difficult to remove them from the site. I see some companies that are importing eggs and larvae from other countries. This is a risky business. I know that you are doing a lot of tests, and the larvae or the fry I kept under quarantine until you receive the approval from the certifying institution and that. But this is not enough. So I would like specifically in these cases that you import fry from other countries, or even if you take fry from the wild, I would like to recommend to increase the surveillance on that. Because why? Because sometimes you have what I call dormant pathogens that are much more difficult to identify. Improve the representativity of the sample. If you need to take to sample three different subpopulations, sample the three different populations. Do sequential tests. One test, wait 10 days, do a second one, double check. It's very important. This is reinforcing a lot. This is reinforcing a lot the strength of your assessment on the presence of pathogens. And specifically, if possible, don't keep these animals in quarantine in flow-through open systems. If possible, keep them in recirculation or have an excellent disinfection, because here you are putting the future, or you can put the future of the aquaculture of this country in jeopardy. For example, something that I saw that I don't want to say that I don't like, but I think you need to change your mind on that, is about taking broodstock from the cages. This is not the best practice. If possible, and you are interested to follow a breeding program, just keep the fry, a group of fry from this batch. Don't move them to the cages. Keep them, maybe 500, or send in a safe place, and keep this fish as SPF, or let's say, maybe not SPF, but as a clean fish during the cycle, okay? And then you will have all the data from their brothers, let's say, in the cages. No problem. You will have information about all the KPIs. You also can have the KPIs from this stock. But for security reasons, please reduce as much as possible the reuse of fish that has been in the cages, and use these fish as broodstock. Going back to broodstock, it is, as Dr. McIntosh said, this is not the silver bullet for everything, but it's very important. It's very important in the future. For example, salmon industry. Salmon industry without a huge effort on selection on specific breeds, it will not have the same relevance as it has now. Very important, the selection of the breeds, checking the KPIs of the generations from this broodstock. It is very important. If you have fry that are distributed in different production systems, keep these KPIs, work with the spreadsheets, and get this big data, because in fact, Dr. McIntosh was addressing the relevance of the big data management. So we are doing this approach. Again, I go back to perform fish. And for example, in this case, we have a system about identification of KPIs, and what we have is a virtual system where each company gets their own validated data in this system, and the companies can see the performance of something like 35 different standardized KPIs. They can see the values of their batches concerning the rest of the batches of the rest of the companies in the Mediterranean, for example. So, but you don't know which batch. You only know that these are your batches. All the rest, you don't know. But you know that you are in the middle, or you are leading, or you are performing very bad for these KPIs. So, if any of the Saudi companies is willing to participate in this program, especially those that are working with CBRIM on CBAS, please feel free to contact Caterina Motu, that is our project leader, or with Giovanna Marino from ISPRA, because she is managing that. And surprisingly, you know this guy over there, Francesco Cardia. Some of you, you know him. He is now currently working with Dr. Giovanna Marino at ISPRA. So our idea is not to close the system. So the system will be live for at least 4 years. So if you are interested to participate in this program and know how are your KPIs behaving concerning let's say, the other species, you are welcome to do that. But not only that, for example, we have in Perform Fish, we have developed SNP chips for tool evaluation from CBRIM and CBAS. These SNP chips are already available, and we have been using them, for example, for the selection of resistant breeds for notavirus, Brio harvey, and Lerneanthropus. I don't know if you have this parasite here, but at least in Greece, is very important. We have also optimized KPI markers, optimized KPI quality markers, something that was necessary to identify exactly what each KPI means, or how do you calculate it, how is the right way to calculate each KPI. So if you're interested, please go to the Perform Fish website, and here you will have all this available information, open information. Again, I go back about the quarantine. Sometimes to perform the epidemiological, let's say the pathogen checks on quarantine is not the best solution. Try, if possible, to think about the possibility to do cross-checks, like in airplanes, with samples done at the origin. Because what happened, for example, if you have a positive in a quarantine, the decision is easy, stamping out. But if you have the possibility to do an early warning on site in the hatchery from the origin, there is still room for changing the supplier or to do something. Here is too late. Here is too late. So if you have to kill a whole stock, probably the production for 1 month will be at stake. Okay, try to explore at least. It will be interesting to explore. Also the possibility to have KSA certified external health operators. But as I said, keep with your own internal system, external and internal. This is a multi-layer system. This is reinforcing a lot all the biosecurity. At farm level, from this visit, what I saw is that at this moment you have, and this is not negative, you have many differences about, let's say, the possibility of the companies to address the day-by-day health control. Some companies are big, some companies are smaller, so this depends on the capacities of each farm. And particularly in some of the companies, the possibility to deal with the day-by-day on not infectious diseases, but can be a simple problem with gases, or can be any kind of non-infectious problems. But in some farms, you have this problem. Okay, I know that if you call SAS, they immediately send someone and sample, but this is too late. This is too late. You have at least to have the possibility to have small teams of people that can do this, do that on site and very fast. And this is why I propose, this is my recommendation, about the creation of small regional, what I call first-line emergency teams, something like home beds model that you call and comes to your house in a couple of hours. When you have a problem, you can operate these small groups regionally, maybe one in north, one in south. That it's not a matter that they came every 15 days. No. They can be there for a couple of days. They can be in contact with your staff. They can help your own staff to be trained in health and disease management. I think it's a good opportunity to improve. And probably in a couple of days, most probably the farms, they will have their own small team that can look on the pathologies. And most probably, this will be a small team running also on quality. Quality and health are always very close, at least in the methodologies. So it's just a suggestion if you want to do that. This system worked in Spain in poultry many years ago. Now we have bigger companies, but especially for the farmers that had very few animals, and they cannot, these farmers cannot afford for a veterinarian. This veterinarian was supplied by the government in some way to promote the health in these small or medium companies or farmers. Even education can be continuous in the farm, or you can organize, let's say, online sessions. There are many possibilities to improve the knowledge on diseases on the farms and in these small groups. Well, what happens if you test positive? So you have a very powerful system, very efficient on the identification of pathogens, but what happens if you have positive? Something that I have the experience, a very good experience on that, is in the creation of fish and shellfish mock sanitary crisis scenarios. Someone creates a mock scenario, let's say a farm like that, you have a positive of this virus, what should we do? And you discuss. So because it's not a matter to, okay, do you remember, all of us will remember what happened with COVID-19. Okay, it's coming, what we should do, we had masks, for 6 months, the whole world population, we have been discussing what to do with that. But I think if we did this kind, let's say, game of wars, or a war game before, maybe we can know what to do more easily, because we have a consensual the answer to this problem, because we were playing with that. And it's very happy to do that, okay? So if you can do that with your staff working on biosecurity and health management, this is and it's also very fun to have people do that and working on that. So I recommend this as an activity that maybe you can organize through the Aquaculture Society. Ideas, then you can choose whatever you want. As Dr. McIntosh said, the success is the integration. Don't believe that only biosecurity will protect for anything. Integration, combined strategies, biosecurity, surveillance, hygiene, fish resilience improvement. But when and what to have to apply this? So basically, the strategies are different, completely different. If you are talking about biosecurity, on top, broodstock. Broodstock is the highest dependent, let's say, structure in the aquaculture about biosecurity, okay? But in the opposite, grow out. Biosecurity in the cages, difficult, you understand me? So in this case, our strategy should be based on fish resilience, okay? And you see the different strategies with COVID, again. Chinese strategy towards biosecurity. 2-3 cases in a big city, they close the city for 1, 2, 3 weeks, okay? How was the strategy in Europe? Basically, probably also you have a very similar strategy, focusing on vaccines. Without the vaccines, we couldn't be here directly, or will be very difficult. Think about the combination of these two strategies. Each time, maybe one strategy is more necessary than the other, okay? But think always to combine these strategies. Improving fish resilience, how? Well, you know, genetics. At this moment, when we have already identified with the SNP chips, which are the genes that are more related to the resilience of the fish to the different diseases, it will be easier to select the right broodstock for any case. Vaccines and vaccination. Maybe here I don't want to waste a lot of time. We don't have time to talk about vaccines, but I think it's something very, very, very important that you have to focus. The availability of vaccines. Availability of vaccines produced in-house in Saudi Arabia, importation of vaccines that has been approved in other countries, autologous vaccines, as a first approach, auto vaccines are very efficient, especially against bacterial diseases. So I think one of the topics to talk in the future will be vaccines, because this is the only way, if you are focusing on fish in cages. If you are working in recirculation, well, maybe, because you can work with biosecurity. But for sure, in cages, this will be a nightmare in the future without vaccines. Therapeutics and disease management. I've seen that maybe you also need to improve a little bit on medicated feeds, legal uses, antibiotic minimal inhibitory concentrations assessment, dose efficacy. I think to complement the biosecurity, I think it would be nice also if you focus the therapeutics and disease management. So there is still room for knowledge and training. Bacterial in diseases, you have problems of bacteria in your hatchery. Please contact my colleague, Pantelis Katarios. He has developed a very nice system, specifically focused for hatcheries, working with fakes. You know that fakes are viruses that kills bacteria. So a very a very efficient way to control the bacteria is using viruses against these bacteria. And my colleague Pantelis is able to produce these phages, and simply introducing these phages in your facility, they keep your, let's say, pathogen bacteria under control, because these phages can be produced specifically against a bacterial species. So, a very useful, new, trendy tool that we can use. No antibiotics, okay? Only using phages. Bear in mind that. I go back to broodstock and genetics. It's a pivotal and key to support the future of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia finfish aquaculture. At least this is my idea. I think you may have a very clear strategy as a country and as companies about the definition of the general species, if you want to go abroad, the local species, the new species. And also, you have to take into account that you are breeding fish species that are reared in a different environment, hypersaline, high temperatures. So it's time to think about that and see the possibility to develop your own breeds, specifically for these harsh conditions of high salinity and high temperature. I think you are on that. But if you can reinforce this strategy, and even you can reinforce this strategy at national level, having your own, maybe you can call it desert rose strain of Sibrim, 100% Saudi. And then you can, for example, let's see, your neighbors in Egypt, they need this specific strain. Okay, you will be in control of that. So you will send, let's say, the breeders to them, not the genetics. You will keep your genetics because this is know-how. But then you will be in control of the, let's say, the marine high temperature aquaculture all around the world about this species. You have high technology. You can do that in less than 5 years if you want. So keep the eye on genetics and brood selection. Welfare is coming, ladies and gentlemen. In Europe, for example, we have a lot of changes according to that. Going back to perform fish, we have already developed what we call operational welfare indicators for Sibrim and sea bass. This is also in this document, if you want to have a look on them. We are proposing to use these operational welfare indicators for Sibrim and sea bass for any countries that they wish to use this system. And welfare is coming basically also on welfare KPIs, but also in fish slaughter and fish stunning, and also in crustaceans. In Europe, think that are the place that they have bigger awareness about how do you not kill, but you slaughter and you stun the fish and the crustaceans. Many companies now are implementing stunning systems using electricity. I know that probably you are thinking about how can I do that in the barges or in the boats, in the cages. But most of the certification bodies are asking for that. So be ready for that, okay? Cages, disease and health issues for the future. I know that you are starting with cages. We learned a lot of lessons from our mistakes in the Mediterranean for many years. Be careful with that. You are running your cages with the cages that are ready to harvesting, because it's very easy that these old fish are transmitting pathogens to the young ones that are much more sensitive to the diseases. Again, I come back to the relevance of this health management, holistic, integrated approach. We already have produced a couple of papers with my colleagues in Italy and in Greece. One is about integrated management strategies for viral nervous necrosis disease control in marine fish farming in the Mediterranean. I think this can be easily translated to the Red Sea situation. These both papers are open, so no problem to download from the web. And another one on therapeutic practices, basically about the use of medicated feeds, antibiotic medicated feeds and antiparasitic medicated feeds. Okay? So we are near the end of the presentation. I will go for the final wrap-up and with the conclusions. The first conclusion is that KSA is really KSA and KSA-based companies. You have a tremendous, both quantitative and mainly qualitative potential in fish farming aquaculture, based on the strength and opportunities, and also based on a winner philosophy. This is one of your best values. KSA agriculture philosophy, mission, high quality and healthy, is what I see. So I think I am happy to see that our views, I think, are quite similar. So I see you, the mission is with just focusing high quality and healthy marine products for the local population of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but also the possibility to have premium high value products for exportation. Your vision, based in a first line advanced technology supported by a strong scientific and technological core, and values that at the end, but are maybe the most important, your values, produced in a healthy environment, in a sustainable and responsible way, and by skilled professionals, coordinated by an efficient administration in a unique society based in strong humanistic values. So this is how I see your country. Specifically on biosecurity, health surveillance and disease pathogen management, these are paramount to reach these goals, and you are achieving that. So well done, and keep up the good work. But don't get us left. Don't forget other areas related to health.
In very what you call comprehensive project in new species and existing species, and I think vaccine veterinarian side with cows for the future is very important. Next visit we will include it in your trip, and I will talk to our colleague in cows to prepare from now. And in fact, I would like you to start get the information from them now, and we can arrange offline meeting after this discussion. But again, I would like to thank you for the comment about Saudi Arabia, and our target really is to move on in all aspects from the private sector and government to achieve our main goal, which is food security, as you mentioned. It's not a commercial, it's a food security from the beginning. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Rida Saleh, Doctor Specialist in Fish Nutrition from cows. First of all, thank you for MEWA for inviting us for this special workshop. And thank you, Dr. Francis, for your valuable presentation. I'm fish nutritionist, but I haven't a lot of information about the fish pathology and the virology science. But my question about the vaccination. What is the best protocol for vaccination in fish, especially in the early stage?
Good question.
Another question, if I vaccine the broodstock, do you think that will help the offspring to get a certain type of immune against the viruses? This is another question. And the last question.
You're saying it is possible to vaccinate orally. Fantastic. But for other diseases, you need to do a first vaccination in bath, then a booster and a third booster. For example, you see the vaccines for humans. For example, we have vaccines that you have been given once when you were children. But with COVID, how many boosters do you have now? 3, 4, and probably we expect. There are different diseases, different reaction of the immune system, so this is very particular on that. Second question is?
It was about the broad stock vaccination. Do you think the broad stock vaccination could help with the offspring?
There is a transfer, there is a real transfer of immunity from the egg to the fry, but it's very short. And because larvae normally are reared in very high hygienic conditions, there is no access of the pathogens. But there are some recent research now on epigenetics that demonstrates that there is some kind of adaptation if there is, the same as, for example, as nutritionists, as this approach about epigenetics, about adaptation of the broodstock. If you, for example, if you feed the broodstock with, let's say, with vegetable oils, then the fry coming from this broodstock is more, let's say, performs better with that. So, and this is transferred not in the genes, it's by epigenetic. So there are a lot of things that are moving on this field that are really very interesting. So, but in any case, if you, for example, if you are in a place that you cannot keep broodstock under full biosecurity conditions, then I will recommend you to vaccinate. Otherwise, if you keep this broodstock as SPF in very, let's say, in very healthy or safe conditions, it's not necessary. But this is not completely the situation. There are some differences, but this is the general trend. And the last one was, sorry.
Yeah, that's all.
That's all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is Abu Bakr from King Abdullah University. Thanks for your presentation. My question is related to the same vaccination. I read some centers, they are working with the feeds that is already mixed with the vaccines, like medicated feeds. It's a vaccinated feeds. Do you have any suggestion for that vaccinated feeds?
You're talking about oral vaccines?
Yeah.
Okay, so oral vaccines existed in the past. The problem is that the efficiency in terms of protection is relatively low. Maybe it can be 30%.
Monitoring the vaccine, they're putting in some pigments into the vaccine until the vaccine reached to the fish, because they were thinking about.
So I am not an expert on shrimp, so you know much better experts on shrimps than me. But at least in fish, remember that the immunocompetence on the fish, for the, let's say, not salmon, species like bream, bass, sobaiti, starts more or less from 1 gram onwards. You cannot work with vaccines in this period between hatch and 1 gram, because the immune system is still developing. So in this case, it's because the strategy is focused for the larvae or for winning, for the pre-winning. I don't expect much results. Even in some cases, can produce immunotolerance. So if you present the antigens too early, maybe this can be even negative for the fish, because maybe then the immune system cannot react against the pathogens. So there are many questions still to be solved about the use of vaccines with encapsulation with artemia or any kind of live food.
This is Dr. Apan from cow. Many cases I just get one-time sample of shrimp disease. In Bangladesh also, one time, in here also, and also in Vietnam. I found that after 3 months of culture, that some microalgae, which are toxic, density become high. And we couldn't do any research more about that, but my just hypothesis I am telling you, the toxin level increase, and that toxin may reduce the immunity of the fish, especially shrimp. Then when the immunity lost, then any bacteria virus can attack. Is there any solution like that? Do you have, rather than vaccine? Because vaccine, I feel it is like a marketing. So biologically control or this. Even in Saudi Arabia, one time I got one sample from golden fisheries, microcysts more. So microcysts produce microcystins LR, that is highly toxin. Nistia pungens, that produce domoic acid, that is also toxin, also dinoflagellate. So these things, depending on the giving the food more and more, since fish are growing and the feed requirement is high, so the byproduct makes nitrate phosphate high. In case of Nistia, they need more ammonia. So urea or ammonia make them bloom, and they produce toxin. So that produce toxin in that place, it is unhealthy for the fish. So slowly, and it happens after 3 months before harvesting. That time it is highly bloom, most of the case. So have any idea about that, how to control or any relation?
I really don't know. Honestly, I am not an expert on biotoxins, but luckily I have very colleagues that are working in a research facility 200 kilometers south from Barcelona, that they are really experts on that. So if I need something, I just refer to them because they are real experts. I have very limited experience on let's say natural toxins in the environment. So I'm sorry, but you know much better than me the situations, and probably I have to learn from you because I don't have this kind of background. I'm sorry for that.
Any other questions, please? Thank you very much, Dr. Pedros. For next presentation, I would like to invite Mr. Shaukat Iqbal Hashmi for the capabilities of aquatic animal health, safety and testing in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Mr. Shaukat Iqbal, please.
Thank you. Center in 1982 and were declared as the national reference laboratory in whole Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And our laboratories have before ISO 17025 2005 version standard from Perry Johnson Laboratory, USA. And now, inshallah, we are going for the new standard, transition to the new standard ISO 17025 2017 version from Saudi Accreditation Center. So very soon, inshallah, we will have the new standard. We have two facilities, the main facility in Jeddah and the second facility in Qatif in the eastern province of Saudi Arabia. And alhamdulillah, we are honored to provide a complete solution and complete support services in whole Kingdom of Saudi Arabia from the platform of SAS. And we are providing the analytical services in 7 different laboratories. We have Microbiology Lab, we have Parasitology Lab, we have PCR Virology Laboratory, and we have Chemical Residue and Contaminants Laboratory, we have Water Lab, and we have Food and Nutrition Laboratory. I will briefly explain to you a little bit introduction about each and every laboratory, our subsections in the lab. First, the Microbiology Laboratory. Alhamdulillah, we have state-of-art facilities for doing the bacterial and other analysis in our microbiology lab. And we are receiving the samples with the support of biosecurity team from whole Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And we are doing the pathogens analysis in fish, shrimp, and water and other samples. Just I want to tell you that we have 4 areas of testing. The first area is for quality, the second one food safety, the third one the fish and other animals diseases, and the fourth one is the environment analysis. So in our laboratory setup, we are providing all the testing services in 4 different areas. But major testing services are related to the aquatic animal health and disease related. In last 1 year, Alhamdulillah, we have performed a great program with the collaboration of biosecurity team under the supervision of FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, that is Antimicrobial Resistance Program. We did AMR analysis in our microbiology lab, and we have performed approximate 1200 analysis only for AMR in microbiology lab from 300 different samples. And we have performed this AMR plan against 4 different antibiotics: oxytetracycline, erythromycin, fluorphenicol, and chloramphenicol. And we have all the complete data with us, but for me, as a member of laboratory, I have declaration not to disclose any result in a social forum. But if you need any discussion about this, you can contact our biosecurity team and our SPF team. Inshallah, they will explain to you about your data, about your analysis. I feel pleased to share with you that recently we have installed a latest machine in our laboratory. It's going to be installed. It's received in the lab, but still not installed. Very soon, inshallah, we are going to start work on this. Maldita from Brucker, Germany. Our vendor who supplied this machine, they told us that this is the first machine of its kind which has been imported in Saudi Arabia. And Alhamdulillah, our microbiology lab is now fully acquainted and got this latest technology for the rapid bacterial identification. There are so many techniques used in microbiology laboratory: API, Microbact, API 20E, there's Vitek Compact 2C, there is Ultra Vitek. There are so many techniques used for bacterial identification. But this technique is the latest one and more rapid technique. Just I give you one example that the target plate of this machine contains 96 wells. One well we use for quality control purpose, and the other 95 wells used for 95 samples. So 96 samples we can do within 30 minutes. Just within 30 minutes we can identify 95 different bacteria. Another benefit of this machine, mashallah, most of you who are concerned with microbiology laboratory, they know that we have always challenged with the analysis between Vibrio alginolyticus and Vibrio harvae, the very common organism in fish disease related. But alhamdulillah, this problem is solved by Maldita. Similarly, we have a great challenge to identify Streptococci inni and Agalacti. That is also resolved by this machine. So in future, inshallah, after you send us the sample, that will be analyzed by Maldita. Our PCR virology lab, most of the samples in our labs received in PCR virology lab. And in the coming slides, I will show you the data. The topmost performance out of all the laboratory is from PCR and virology lab, alhamdulillah. And we have a complete solution for OIE listed diseases in shrimp and fish being performed in our virology laboratory. Histopathology lab, we have also screening of the fish and shrimp diseases for the tissue process in our histopathology lab. And also, I will feel pleasure to share with you that recently we have installed another new machine in our histo lab, that is BioOptica from Italy. This machine is more rapid, have more capacity of the sample for the tissue process, and it is fully automated. And alhamdulillah, this year in 2022, we have added so many new techniques, new machines in our laboratories. and that will be in future very supporting for all of you, for all the establishment, for all the firms, for all the companies, to provide well in time, accurate, precise and economical results, inshallah. So this BioOptica now functional, and we are using in our histopathology lab. Other than that, we have fully automated gram stainer machine, and we have fully automated robotic cover slipper machine. So all these modern and advanced machines are being used in our histopathology lab. Parasitology lab for internal and external parasites of the fish also being used in our parasitology lab. And now we have, inshallah, in future, we have state-of-art chemical residues and chemical toxicants laboratory. Earlier, we have flame atomic absorption spectrophotometer for elemental and heavy metal analysis. And now, inshallah, we are using, very soon we will receive ICP OES. ICP OES have more accurate and more bigger range as compared to atomic absorption spectrophotometer. We will do the heavy metal like mercury, cadmium, chromium, nickel, arsenic in fish meat and also in water sample. So we will have ICP OES in place, and also we have food chemistry lab, food and nutrition lab, as many of friends here belong to feed and nutrition. So inshallah, in future we are providing you the complete solution for all the proximate analysis like protein, fat, fiber, and other components in the feed. And for this, now recently we have installed this fully automatic dietary fiber FOSTech, FiberTech dietary fiber instrument from FOS company. And also we have received new NIR, near infrared spectroscopy. That is also, very common and latest technology used for the feed analysis. So NIR also, alhamdulillah, it's being received in our labs. And these are some of the new machines which now, inshallah, very soon working in our labs. Also in our water lab, we have, after virology lab, we have, and then these reports are submitted to Saudi Aquaculture Society. Saudi Aquaculture Society upload these results in Aqua portal on the ministry website. MIWA website, you will have a portal, and all the farms people have authorization, login ID for using this Aqua portal. And you will see all the trend of your results, your reports in Aqua portal, and same results being submitted to ministry by Saudi Aquaculture Society. This was a bit introduction about the facilities, about the equipments in our laboratory. Now I will go to the system in the lab. We are working for ISO 17025 2017 version accreditation. Earlier we were accredited from Perry Johnson Lab, USA, and we have these certificates from PJLA, USA. And now, because new system came for 2017 version, we are working on this, and inshallah very soon we will have 2017 version in place. Another very new things for laboratory, because first time in our labs we are going to install LIMS, Laboratory Information Management System, and this is a great achievement by Saudi Aquaculture Society, that apart from ISO 17025, also first time in these government laboratories, we are installing LIMS, and this will be the professional LIMS and cloud LIMS. It will have a connection, online all the time, and all over the world, anywhere with our user ID and password, we can access the data. And for that, we have, inshallah, today we are going to sign an agreement with Shalan company, and they will be providing us the services for LIMS. And this is first time in these government laboratories. Also, Saudi Aquaculture Society, in order to have a proper and uniform flow of work and to have a proper control of inventory, with the support of IT department, Saudi Aquaculture Society has introduced another system in the lab, that is Store Management System, SMS. With this SMS system, it is already being used, it is installed, and we have some user ID password. the people will generate the PR purchase request in the system, and it will go to our director. After his approval, it will go to the purchase department, and also issuance of the purchased item will be through this system. So we will have a proper system in place for the inventory control. Vendors and suppliers, you know, laboratory department have so many different chemicals, reagents, medias to purchase, and also services for the equipments. So we must have good vendors and suppliers which should be evaluated. So we have a system for this. We have quality procedure to evaluate our vendors, and the past few months this activity was going on, and our experts from MIWA Ministry and SAS, they have selected side. You can see here we have one special performer for this, and all our laboratory members, all our laboratory personnel has signed this declaration that they will not disclose any information to anyone. This is our average number of samples. You can see here in 2021, because of Corona, COVID situation, some month laboratories were closed, but still we have this much number of sample. This is the whole year data in 2021. Saudi Aquaculture Society is committed to enhance the competency and skills of the laboratory staff. For that purpose, they are regularly conducting internal trainings and also workshops and seminars to improve the efficiency and the skills of the laboratory staff. Another very good achievement, alhamdulillah, from the laboratory side, we have participated 6 consecutive years in ring test, international global proficiency testing from University of Arizona, and all these years we have passed the proficiency testing in shrimp and fish both. The last one, as you know that always laboratories have more different chemical waste and biohazardous waste. So for that purpose, SAS is committed to use all the waste, to handle all the waste in an environment friendly way. So this is a company, SEPCO Environment Company, very professional company. SAS has made agreement with that company, and all our waste are handled by this company. They weekly coming to us, they collect all the biohazardous waste and other waste, and they take it and they handle it. They have their own incinerator like this one. So this was the presentation about our laboratory department. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Mr. Shaukat, for wrapping it up quickly. Now, I would like to invite our next speaker, respected Dr. Muhammad Broom from King Abdulaziz University, and his topic today is Applied Research for Inland Aquaculture Development, please.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل وسلم على رسول الله. I will present today about our project awarded from Ministry of Environmental, Water and Agriculture to King Abdulaziz University about the development or the applied research for the inland aquaculture development. Our project actually focuses on carrying out the applied research in a scientific manner, but with a commercial perspective for the development. Our project participants, we have 45 members, 28 PhD holders, and coming from 11 countries. The project partners is from local organization, King Abdulaziz University, CAXT, King Faisal University. We have also the Veterinary College in King Faisal University. We have Cornell University, Denmark, DTU, and we have XLECT, and we have also with Arasco and some other also private organization. KU has signed 5 years MOU with CACST to allocate to aquaculture. I think this is the pointer. This is the 2 research units, each is 500 square meter for the project execution. The facility has redesigned to accommodate both warm water and cold water species. The active projects right now, we started with the baseline environmental survey. Then we have also the new prospective species. We have the health screening. We have also the nutrition. We have the genetic. We have new aquaculture technologies. And we have demonstrative production projects. And I will briefly summarize about our projects. This is the project for the 3 years, which is already planned, and it is now going on. We started with the baseline study, where we have studied the environmental assessment in the projects. That was the water parameter assessment, the topographic also maps, the thermal weather maps, temperature, humidity, wind direction, and the speed. We have also evaluated the production efficiency by the cultivated species, the qualitative assessment, and the projects, it was the qualitative assessment. The visit was for, we have visited 81 aquaculture projects, the active projects actually. The introduction of new economic species. We have screened the prospective species going from a long list of 200 going to 7 species. We have considered for the matrix, the biological data, the optimal condition, and we have also the biological feasibility, the annual import data into KSA. We have also considered the potential profitability and the market value. So we have wide range of assessment criteria has been considered and employed for the matrix for the rating. Also, the annual trend and recent import status were also utilized. The new prospective species, we have considered 5 imported species and 2 local species to be under our study, and we used a liberty scale approach on the 6 criteria, 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. The final list of the species which we have studied was the rainbow trout, the Bengasius, the carp, common carp, and also the prawn, Microbiology, the mullet, but we have eliminated that since it is in the marine sector development, and we have also the African catfish and the pike perch, or Nile perch actually, Nile perch. The project which will be carried out on the new species will have 2 sides. It's the technical side, which will consider the adaptation, spawning and farming, the immunity stimulants, the stocking densities, the growth, FCR, and survival, all will be determined, and the stress factors. Where for the economic, we are going to consider the market value, the potential profitability, the consumer preference, and the marketing strategy and marketing survey. We have also the health screening. This is a project which we are doing with one of the certified OIE in Denmark, DTU, and also with King Faisal University, the Veterinary College. And it's actually, I'm pleased to know that SAS going to be awarded for the surveillance program in the freshwater, and probably this will be the first or the baseline study for them, where we are going to test the water and fish condition, also the regular sampling. We are screening the presence of fish disease. That will be 5 viral disease and 15 bacterial disease. We have also the meiotic disease 8 and parasitic disease 28. And all this disease actually it was, and the sampling itself, it was decided and designed with the support and guideline of the OIE, D2 Denmark Lab, We have selected 25 farms. These 25 farms actually from a total 81, which reflects the 5 geographic locations across the KSA. We are going to do that 2 times every 6 months, 30 fish from each farm, and a total sample size will be 1,500. The sample collected on site will be the blood, the stress evaluation, and cortisol, the visceral organs, liver, spleen, kidney, and gills. And also we will have the histology and bacteriology and virology, skin and mycology. Also we have the wet simmer of the gills and the whole fish for parasitology. We have also the treatment. It will be developed. We are going to develop the treatment protocol, the contingency plan for the project, as well the disinfection. The capacity development, also we are going to develop the protocol for inspecting the fish disease in the freshwater sectors and training for disease inspection. The nutrition, one of our sounds better. The nutrition, the introduction of the non-conventional ingredients was one of our strategic plan for formulating diets based on accurate digestible nutrient basis for cost efficiency. We will try, or we are trying now to formulate a diet with Arasco, and they are actually our implementer, to introduce the offal meal, the feather meal, the insect meal into our diet, where we have to replace completely the fish oil and the fish meal. So we will start with the digestibility study using the ingredients, the indigestible markers for low and high and medium concentration, and based on that, we will, based on this, so this is actually to assess the potential nutritive where we have the best concentration of these 3 ingredients to be included in the diet formula. The next step will be we will have 3 formulas, the best 3 formulas based on the best digestion and performance. It will go for offal meal, feather meal, and insect meal with 2 local commercial feeds, and also with 2 benchmark companies, international feed. And then we will go to do our research in a controlled condition where we are going to evaluate the production efficiency, the financial efficiency, and also the feed quality and the control analysis. The next step will go to the meat and the product analysis, where we are going to analyze the nutrient components and the sensory test and the taste acceptance. The last step, where we have to move our trial to the commercial scale to validate our results with the controlled condition. The genetic also was one of the scope where we have worked on. The tilapia was introduced. Now this is what we have commercially in KSA, and it was introduced like in 1980 and maybe something before, but we were not certain aware if there is any breeding program has been employed on them. So we wanted to start with the base and the population. So we did the population genetic assessment and of the farmed Nile tilapia in Saudi Arabia, and that was with XLECT and also with with Marine Faculty in King Abdulaziz University, Dr. Miyasser. We have done a survey, really a big survey and screening of 81 farms to reach to the best farms, which has the lowest risk of hybridization, the probability of higher numbers of partners contributing to the potential founders, and also broad genetic origin. We have considered the principal component analysis. We have considered the heterozygosity and inbreeding coefficient. We have considered the fixation index. We have considered the effective population size and the pairwise relatedness, zip shape analysis, and JAWS. The point behind this, it was actually to be a step for the selective breeding program. So we have analyzed avoid or to control any future inbreeding. We have also the demonstrative production projects. One of the new prospective species is the introduction of the rainbow trout, or the salmonid species is the rainbow trout. And I believe that we thought out of the box, and we are now working on designing a RAS hatchery of rainbow trout in Heil. We are going to produce 5 million fry annual production. We are going also for cold water species of 16 degree. 1.2 million of 1 gram will be fingerlings produced every 4 months, and ability to run 4 broodstock individually, I mean. Also the RAS farm, beside the hatchery, we will have a demonstrative RAS farm of rainbow trout. Will produce 100-ton annual production, cold water species up to 18 degree temperature. The harvest will be 17 tons of 1 kg harvest every 2 months. We will support different, the facility will support different size harvest as a partial harvest from 500 to 1,000 ton. This facility will be integrated with aquaponic farm for the production of 100 tons of annual leafy plants and vegetables. We are considering in our designing the high capex efficiency. The facility should comply with biosecurity measures. It should be qualified for BAB and CEMAC certificate. We are going to employ many life support system to minimize any risk. The strong concept production plan, which can be also can be used for the other farms, because the 5 million we need for the demonstrative rats, it's only 250,000, so remaining should be for other farms. We are going to produce also or provide business modeling and feasibility study about the project. This is the production plan where we are going to produce the hatchery and the RAS system also, the grow out. It has 4 phases. This is actually the final design of the hatchery. This is the broodstock, which is completely isolated, and we have 4 spawning and broodstock area where we can have 4 generation of spawning during the year. We have, this is the hatchery, and this is the spawning area and or incubation room, and this is actually the hatchery, which we call it, will produce 1.2 million gram, 1 gram fry every 4 months. And then we have the farm. The farm will have a quarantine, and then also we'll have, this we call it stage 0, and we have the pre-grow out and nursery, pre-grow out and grow out. And if you see that we have different life support system, and this different life support system, it means it will minimize the risk if something happens in one of the system, the entire farm will not be affected. And the thing, since it is cold water species, we are going to use the insulation panel, which I believe, which used actually for poultry. And we have studied also that the electrical consumption and the cost will be added to the production. It will be less than 1 real per kg. And this has also, it will depend on the production plan and what would be the stocking densities. So I think we are going, as Dr. Ali said, in less than 1 year, we will have this facility ready and operated in Heil. The new aquaculture technologies, we have said that we are going to introduce the RAS in the best and high techniques and with the highest biosecurity measures, and it would be integrated with aquaponic, but we came here to the symbiotic, where we have considered the existing farms. The existing farm, we have done this research in the Modern Coast Farm near to Alith. And our aim was to improve the farming system for introducing the modern technology, rationalizing the water use by reducing operation cost, and also evaluate the possibilities of introducing it at commercial scale. The symbiotic application, what we practiced, it was anaerobic fermentation for organic carbon, molasses, and wheat bran, and also the application of nitrifying bacteria directly. And we used to feed both of them. So we used to feed in the tanks or in the ponds. We used to feed the anaerobic fermentation, and we used to feed also the nitrifying bacteria by the sodium bicarbonate. So also we used to apply weekly like the probiotic. The result we gained or the achievement performance was.
Thank you very much, Dr. Broom, for your presentation. Our next presenter is Dr. Mohanlal from Saudi Aquaculture Society for SPF program status for fish and shrimp, please. Dr. Mohanlal. This is the pointer. This is next slide.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here to present the specific pathogen-free program on Pinus indicus and Oreochromis pylorus. To start with a small introduction, means history of shrimp aquaculture. In the kingdom, we started the shrimp aquaculture with the native species indicus. Because of the outbreak of diseases, shrimp aquaculture came to a standstill. And when we selected the SPF stocks of Manami, and which bring back the shrimp aquaculture industry back in the kingdom. So General Directorate of Fisheries, MEWA, has given higher priority to use as a substitute species, and they selected the native species indicus and to develop the SPF stocks of the species. So the main objectives of the the program is to develop a SPF stocks of indicus and also Oreochromis pylorus, and to develop a genetic program to develop disease-resistant strains of the species. So this is the another small history of the this program. We started with collecting wild animals from Jasan region, Manshaba. There is two reasons for collecting this site. One is like abundance of the stock, and this particular region was under surveillance for the last 5 years. So we started collecting. We have total 2 batches we have collected. First batch we collected in March 2021, and we collected around 1,400